So today my heart's a little heavy. I've had a lot of women that have reached out to me about situations of abuse. And I just want to tell you what a lot of people have told me lately and reminded me, because I think I forgot. I knew, but I pushed it in the back of my head just because of my situation. But you are the bride of Christ. Before anybody else's bride, male or female, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Abuse is abuse.
Imagine calling 911 and calmly telling the dispatcher that you're about to end your life. Just hours later, your body is discovered alone in a state park. Authorities quickly rule your death a suicide. But instead of bringing closure, that ruling sparks even more questions. Friends say you were afraid. Family members insist something wasn't right. Social media explodes with theories. Videos rack up millions of views. Some people believe the case is exactly what investigators concluded. Others believe there are still unanswered questions. Today, we're taking a careful look at the story of Mica Miller. We'll walk through her life, her marriage, the events leading up to her death, the official investigation, and why this case continues to divide public opinion. As always, this video focuses on verified information. Where there are allegations, we'll identify them as allegations. Where there are unanswered questions, we'll say exactly that. Let's begin. Before headlines and controversy, Mica Miller was simply known as someone who loved helping people. Friends described her as caring, energetic, and deeply involved in her faith. She enjoyed music, she volunteered, she connected easily with others. People who knew her often said she had a warm personality that made strangers feel comfortable. Like many people, Mica had personal struggles throughout her life. She spoke openly at times about emotional challenges and mental health. Those experiences would later become part of the public conversation after her death.
And you are the bride of Christ. And my Bible says that he took all the abuse you could think of for you so that you didn't have to live that life of slavery and bondage and pain. Jesus took it all for you. So you don't have to stay in a abusive relationship, whether that's sexual, whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs, or alcohol abuse, or physical abuse, psychological abuse, making you think that this is all your fault, or you're a bad mom, or you're a bad wife, or you're a bad husband, or you're not giving it your all when you know you are. God hates divorce, but why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that?
But people close to her say those struggles never defined who she was. Instead, they remember someone who tried to move forward despite difficult moments. Eventually, Pastor John Paul Miller, a well-known church leader in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. At first, their relationship appeared to reflect the image of a devoted Christian couple. From the outside, few people knew how complicated things would become. Every relationship has disagreements. But according to court records and statements made by family members and friends, Mica's marriage became increasingly difficult. Over time, allegations surfaced involving emotional distress, conflict, and repeated legal disputes.
Uh-oh, y'all. What's going on? JP just touched that. JP just touched that girl. Oh my God, y'all. What the Whoa.
It is important to remember that allegations made in court filings or by family members are claims, not findings of criminal wrongdoing unless confirmed in court. Public records show the couple experienced multiple separations. Divorce proceedings were filed. There were disagreements over finances and property. Friends later claimed Mica often appeared exhausted emotionally. Some described her as frightened. Others said she wanted a fresh start. These statements became widely shared after her death. Because the marriage involved a local pastor, the situation attracted significant public attention long before Mica died. Church members began discussing the couple's relationship. Rumors spread online. Some supported Mica. Others defended her husband. The conflict was no longer private. The final weeks of Mica's life remain one of the most closely examined parts of the timeline. Friends say she appeared hopeful about rebuilding her future. She had discussed plans to move on.
I'm going through a lot and it's hard and it's my cross to bear. When your world is shook up, you need to take a pause. I'm trying to get my priorities straight right now. Keep praying for me. Thank you.
She reportedly wanted independence. At the same time, legal matters connected to the divorce continued. Court filings became public. People familiar with the situation noticed ongoing tension. Supporters of Mica later pointed to these circumstances as reasons they questioned the official conclusion. Investigators, however, evaluated the evidence collected during the investigation rather than public opinion. Understanding that distinction is important. Public concern and investigative findings are not always the same thing. On April 27th, Mica drove to Lumber River State Park in North Carolina. Along the way, surveillance footage and transaction records helped investigators reconstruct portions of her movements. Authorities said she legally purchased ammunition before arriving at the park. Investigators later stated that the timeline established through surveillance, receipts, and digital evidence showed her traveling alone. One of the most discussed pieces of evidence is a 911 call. During that call, the caller identified herself and requested authorities locate her body after she died.
County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hi, are you able to trace the location of my phone?
Let me see. You don't know where you're at?
A national park.
Tell me what's happened.
I just want my family to know where to find me.
The dispatcher attempted to keep her on the line. The call eventually ended. Law enforcement responded. Later that day, Mica Miller was found deceased in the park. She was 30 years old. Following her death, multiple agencies became involved. Investigators examined surveillance footage, phone records, financial records, the firearm, witness statements, the scene itself. Medical examiners also conducted an autopsy. According to officials, the evidence supported the conclusion that Mica died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The manner of death was ruled suicide. Authorities later stated they found no evidence indicating another person was present when she died. That official determination remains unchanged. For investigators, physical evidence plays a central role. Unlike discussions online, investigations rely on forensic findings, witness interviews, and documented timelines. Instead of ending the story, the official ruling marked the beginning of nationwide attention. Social media exploded. Thousands of people began examining every interview, photograph, and court document they could find. Many viewers questioned the investigation. Others argued that speculation was getting ahead of the available evidence. Several hashtags related to Mica's case spread rapidly across Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Reddit. Some creators analyzed public records. Others promoted theories that were never supported by official evidence. This became one of the defining features of the case. The internet became its own courtroom. Several factors contributed to ongoing public skepticism. First, there was the highly public divorce. Second, family members publicly expressed doubts about the suicide ruling. Third, the church's involvement brought additional attention. Fourth, Extensive social media coverage amplified nearly every rumor. When a case already involves conflict, people naturally search for explanations. Sometimes those explanations are supported by evidence. Sometimes they are not. Distinguishing between the two can be difficult. Following Mica's death, attention turned toward her husband's church. Videos from church services circulated online.
I'm taking a little bit of a break, and I don't want to have to worry about the church. My break may be a few days, a few weeks, I don't know. I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina.
Critics questioned certain public remarks. Supporters defended the congregation. Former members shared personal experiences. Current members shared different perspectives. The church itself became part of the broader public discussion, even though the official death investigation focused on events surrounding April 27th. As emotions grew stronger, so did polarization. People often interpreted the same information in completely different ways. Few modern cases demonstrate the influence of social media as clearly as this one. Within days, creators posted timeline videos. Commentary channels analyzed interviews. True crime podcasts covered the story. Thousands of users created their own theories. This constant attention helped keep Mica's story in the public eye. It also created challenges. Some viewers struggled to separate verified evidence from speculation. Others assumed repeated claims were automatically true simply because they appeared frequently online. That isn't how investigations work. Evidence, not popularity, determines official conclusions. Officials have consistently maintained that the available evidence supports the ruling of suicide. They have publicly stated there was no evidence of homicide discovered during their investigation. No criminal charges related to Mica's death have been announced. That does not prevent people from asking questions, but it is important to recognize the difference between unanswered questions and evidence of a crime. They are not the same. Mica's family has continued advocating for additional review of the case. They have spoken publicly about their concerns. They have also focused on preserving Mica's memory beyond the headlines. For families experiencing sudden loss, grief often includes searching for answers. Whether those answers come through investigations, court proceedings, or personal reflection, every family processes tragedy differently. Regardless of where someone stands regarding the investigation, several lessons emerge.
How do you think God feels about that? So, I want to remind you, like a bunch of people have been reminding me lately, that I'm God's bride first. And even an earthly spouse, who's a good spouse, when they know that their bride is being hurt, just imagine what an earthly spouse does. What do you think your heavenly spouse does when you're the bride of Christ and he sees his bride going through abuse and hurt? What do you think he thinks about that? So, encouragement in all this is you are the bride of Christ first before anybody else's. And he's got you. And he sees you. And he loves you.
Relationships can be far more complicated than they appear publicly. Mental health deserves compassion, not stigma. Public attention can amplify both facts and misinformation. Social media can keep important conversations alive, but it can also spread unsupported claims at incredible speed. Cases like this remind us why careful reporting matters. Every statement should be supported by evidence whenever possible. Every allegation should be clearly identified as an allegation. Every official conclusion should be presented accurately, even when people disagree with it. More than anything else, the story of Mica Miller is about a life that ended far too soon. A daughter. A friend. A woman remembered differently by different people, but remembered nonetheless. Her death continues to generate discussion because many people still feel there are questions they wish had clearer answers. Authorities have stated their conclusion. Her family continues to seek clarity. The public continues to debate. Whether future information changes anything remains unknown. For now, the official ruling stands, while public interest in the case remains strong. If there's one takeaway from Mica's story, it's that real lives deserve careful treatment. Behind every headline is a family living with loss. Behind every viral video is a person whose life mattered long before the internet began discussing it. Thank you for watching. If you found this breakdown informative, consider subscribing for more carefully researched true crime stories where we separate verified facts from speculation and let the evidence guide the story. And as always, let me know your thoughts respectfully in the comments below.